Hello and welcome back to the Genesis Designs and Modelcraft bench again, and today I have got for you a quick look at the Dora Wings Lockheed Vega 5C in 48th scale. Now the first thing I suppose a lot of you might wonder is who the heck are Dora Wings? Well, they are quite a new manufacturer in fairness, first founded in 2017 and they're based in the Ukraine, and what they've been doing a really great job of ever since they started was giving us some really very decent kits of some quite esoteric subjects, like for example the Vega, which is a very underkitted aircraft really, and things like the S55, the Savoia Marchetti S55 twin-hulled flying boat, Blanca Skyrocket, and just lately the Caudron Simoon and even the Curtiss Jeep. Look that one up. Very unknown aircraft and really very pretty, and I might well get myself one of those as well. Onto the Vega then. The Lockheed Vega shouldn't need too much introduction. This aircraft first flew in 1927 and the construction of it was quite revolutionary for the time. The fuselage is a full monocoque made from wood in much the same way as things like the Mosquito were later on down the line. Laminated wooden strips placed into a concrete mould and all glued together, and then the two halves of the shell brought together. The wings, or all of the surfaces, were skinned with plywood, and the whole thing is a quite nice streamlined shape. So the Vega 5 came along in 1929 and introduced the streamlined nacre cowling around the engine, a 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney Wasp engine, and some extra seats. So the Vega gained a lot of favour with record breakers of the time due to its ruggedness, its speed, and indeed its long range, even as an unmodified aircraft. So then, let's have a quick look at the kit. Here's the box. Love the way the box art is. The plane itself is a shiny print and the rest of it's kind of semi-gloss. Very neat, and a really great illustration there as well. So parts wise, what you get, here we go, in one pack. It's a peely sticky sort of bag, so you can take them in and out, and you get quite a number of sprues, and some of them are quite small. So we've got a one-piece upper wing here and a two-piece lower, and what you can see is just how smooth that plastic surface is. It's not quite the gloss levels of some of the sword kits you might have seen, but very smooth, really nicely done. And another thing that's immediately obvious is flash. Now don't panic too much, I'll show you there's some in this cutout here. I don't know if that's going to be picked up, but just in that cutout there at the leading edge you can see some flash on those edges. It is important to realise before you go out and purchase anything like this, this is basically a limited run kit. It's not limited run like olden days limited run kits, and modelers of my vintage might remember the likes of Magna Models and Pegasus. Now those were limited run kits. You needed a chainsaw to get the parts off the sprues, and then good luck getting anything to fit together. But they were what we had at the time. Now this is what you're going to get these days with a limited run style of technology, and it's essentially really very clean, but what there is a little bit of flash on the parts here and there. So there's your fuselage halves, and we move on to all these smaller sprues with all the smaller parts, and quite worthy of note, look at the complexity of that exhaust system there. Quite well reproduced, and you can see the flash again on those cowling halves. It's no big deal, it's not thick flash, it'll take a matter of seconds to clean it back, and what you're going to be doing at the same time is eliminating all the mould seams, so it's actually in some ways not a bad thing, in my opinion. There's your engine sprue, and these are actually the legs for the passenger seats. Incredibly finely moulded. If I just come up nice and tight, look at the fins on that motor. It's really beautifully done, and I think the cost of a little bit of parts prep is really not a big one to have to pay. It's fair to say that when you do come to construction, here we've got the tail feathers and some of the internal parts. Nice set of wheels with the streamlined spats, or streamlining, the attempt at streamlining. And then the rest of the interior, pretty much all the seats, bulkheads and floors is on this one. Quite a lot of parts, some quite delicious moulding in there as well. And with clear parts. Very decent, I think you'll agree. Again, we've got some flash, but the finish on them is more than adequate, as you can see. Moving on from there then, in the Decals sachet, another peely sticky bag. You do actually get, there you come on, there we go. You do actually get a set of masks with this, and a tiny photo etch fret. So if I leave the photo etch here, oh hell, we'll get it out. It's a nice little business card in here. Pop the photo etch on it to make it easier for you to see. There you go. An instrument panel and some seat straps essentially. So that's included in the kit. And then there's a little sheet of mask for your windows. Hold that at an angle, you can see them cut out there. And this is the sort of smoked, transparent vinyl mask, which will be perfectly adequate for this application because the windows are quite flat. I don't like using the vinyl masks on more curved surfaces because they have a tendency to peel up. So for me, probably the highlight of this kit really is this decal sheet, or sheets. There are actually two. Obviously that's all just serials, and here we go with all the smaller markings and cheat lines. It's all beautifully printed, really. The finesse is fabulous to see. I don't know who's printed them, it's just labelled as Dora Wings, but absolutely beautifully done, including the gold on the middle there. Everything's really in register. The carrier film is very, very thin and quite tightly trimmed, and the colours are lovely and bold. It's a fabulous decal sheet. And I mean, I can see this easily being £10 to £15 worth at aftermarket prices, really. Instruction booklet, nice little A5 booklet, replication of the box art on the front there. You get sprue layouts on the first page, and then straight into construction with the cockpit area and the engine. The style of these drawings reminds me of earlier Edward stuff, or sword type things. I think that's where they've got their inspiration from. There's all our passenger seats, 6 passengers in this aircraft, and obviously the 7th seat up front for the pilot. Separate control surfaces on the main wing, but not on the tail. And then several parts going to make up those cockpit windows, which might be fun. And then we're on to the colour scheme or marking options, and these are, as I mentioned already, these aircraft were very popular with record breakers, and that's reflected in the choices of scheme that we've got here. So the first one is Winnie Mae. This isn't the Winnie Mae. The original Winnie Mae is on display at the National Air and Space Museum in Washington DC. This Winnie Mae is a replica based at the Fantasy of Flight in Florida, but the original Winnie Mae was piloted by Wiley Post, and he flew this aircraft, not all at once I'm sure, twice around the world, and also used it for high altitude testing. And in the course of that flying, he actually proved the existence of the jet stream, which is something that modern aviators make great use of. The second one is an aircraft which was modified for use in a transatlantic crossing, which was intended to go from New York to Lithuania, which is what Kaunas is, with the pilot being Felix Vaitkus, or Felixas Vaitkus, if you like. And he was a US born Lithuanian and is credited as the sixth pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic using this aircraft. So he took off from New York and flew across the North Atlantic but due to the weather on the day, he was forced to land in Ireland, so he only made it to Ireland and landed in a field near Ballinrobe, but he was nonetheless credited with that Atlantic crossing, as he should be, but didn't make it all the way to Lithuania. The aircraft was picked up and taken the rest of the way. I don't know if it still exists, I think not. Next one then is Shell Aviation or Shell Oil Co. Great scheme, I think you'll agree. Yellow with red. This aircraft is actually this aircraft. The Shell Oils one was modified and became Lituanica 2. And the last one, Amelia Earhart's 5C. She used this aircraft to perform the first solo flight from Hawaii to the mainland, landing at Oakland in California. She did this in 1935, and this aircraft was christened by her Old Bessie the Firehorse. She then went on the same year to fly solo from Los Angeles to Mexico City, and from there to New York. It'd be hard not to do this scheme, but really all three of these main record-breaking schemes have got really great stories behind them, and they're all very, very attractive as well. I think you'll agree. And there you have it. That is the kit. Now this kit costs here in the UK $24.99. I got it from Hannet's with my own money. I'm very, very impressed with it. I think it looks great. I've got a couple of other Dora Wings kits actually, and I can see more coming in the future. They have some great, interesting subjects that they do, and the kits themselves are very competent. They are not going to build like a Tamiya or an Edward kit. It just isn't. That just isn't the way things are. But they are nonetheless very, very well worth a look. So yes, I can recommend this one happily to moderately experienced modellers. And there you go then. So that was the Dora Wings Lockheed Vega 5C. The kit number is DW48024. So there, until the next one, look after yourselves, look after each other, and Genesis out.